Hi, everybody. Analisa Six here with the Lady of Leisure and the Sober Curator to bring you the November 2024 horoscope for the zodiac sign of Taurus for sun and rising placements. I am very aware that we are in the middle of the month at the time that I am recording this and that I am behind on getting these videos out. I apologize. Excuse me. Just drank a lot of water and it's like still working through my chest. But I think better late than never. I was out of town at the end of October, beginning of November, and I just did not get it together to get these out sooner. So I apologize, but here we are now. So I'm just going to kind of run through the themes for Taurus over November and keep it, as brief and straightforward as I can, even though November is a pretty busy month astrologically. We always enter November in Scorpio season, and Scorpio is the fixed water sign of the zodiac. Hold on, my dog's about to be annoying. Cosmo, come here, bud. Come here. We got your cupcake here. Come see your cupcake. Up. You come up here. Yes. Get that cupcake. So Scorpio season lands, at the end of October, first half of November. And Scorpio is the fixed water sign of the zodiac that is the exact opposite of Taurus. So in the chart, Taurus and Scorpio are in a direct opposition. Taurus is the fixed earth sign of the zodiac, ruling the second house, and Scorpio rules the eighth house. So right now we're basically in like your half birthday opposition land, and where Scorpio hits in the birth or in the horoscope chart is in the seventh house, which is the house that represents our connection to partnerships, relationships. This can be business partnerships, this can be romantic partnerships, this can be best friendships, but essentially we have the sun passing through this area of the chart right now, starting out November and highlighting relationships, one-on-one relationships, intimate relationships for you of all kinds in that regard. When we start out the month of November, it starts out with a bang with a new moon in Scorpio, 9 degrees Scorpio. So new moon's a little bit of a refresher. They are times for setting intentions, planting seeds towards things that we want to cultivate. And so this is a really positive time for you, Taurus, to set intentions or plant seeds around things regarding relationships for you, especially close partnership dynamics. Now in Scorpio, Scorpio is the sign that rules the underworld. It rules death and rebirth. It rules letting go, transformation, transmutation of energy. It's also sex. It also has a connection to power dynamics. And so if you feel like, there's changes or kind of endings and beginnings of cycles that are happening for you in partnership or relationship dynamics, this is a time where you could set intentions around what energies you're kind of over with in your life, like you are tired of entertaining, and then what kind of energies you want to call in. So if there's any kind of relationship dynamics that you've just been sick of and you're ready for something new and fresh, this is a time for you, Taurus, to be able to kind of tell the universe, like, this is what I want in my relationships moving forward. And relationships and partnerships are going to be a central theme for you in November, because even when we move into some of the Sagittarius energy that's already happening in the horoscope chart, it's passing through the eighth house of the horoscope. And the eighth house is the house that rules shared resources. So we've got sex, death, rebirth, shared assets, financial kind of stuff, taxes. It's our relationship to money through institutions and other people, as well as family, shared wealth, that kind of stuff. It's also the house of sex, death, and rebirth. The occult lives here, all that kind of stuff. So those are the seventh house of partnership, and then that house of the eighth house, the house that Scorpio traditionally rules, is highlighted for you during the month of November. So let's talk about some of the other things starting out the month. We've got Venus in Sagittarius, Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. So that's all on the 1st of November with that new moon. Now, Cosmo, The noise sensitivity my dog has with the neighbors is very frustrating for me right now. Hey, bud. Thank you. Can you come here to mommy? I really want you to sit with mommy while I do my videos. Can you come here? You've got your cheese. What's that cheese for you? Right here. Come on. Chew your cheese with me. Come here. You don't want to chew your cheese with mommy? You want to chew it on the floor? You can chew it on the floor. Just I need you to stop barking. Okay, sorry about that. So as we get into the month after the first, Mercury is kind of like the first planet that really starts to move into some new frequencies of energy. It's been in Scorpio over the last month, and it's, you know, been in that seventh house that has to do with communicating about relationship dynamics and things like that. And then it moves into Sagittarius on the third, and it's going to be in Sagittarius for all of November. And it's going to be in Sagittarius even throughout all of December, because Mercury stations retrograde in Sagittarius at the end of the month. And so everything that's kind of starting right now with Mercury in Sagittarius, you're going to be revisiting in December and kind of throughout the season, the winter season. So, you know, again, Mercury is going to be passing through that eighth house, which is the house of sex, death, rebirth, shared resources, assets, taxes, financial institutions. And Sagittarius is the sign of the seeker. It's the sign that has to do with our values and our belief systems. And so we might be changing some of the way that we perceive things, and some of what our values and belief systems have been in the past might be transforming or transmuting in some capacity. And it's good for us to lean into letting go of a need to control that and just being open to learning. Mercury in Sagittarius is a really good opportunity for just being open to learning and getting out of our own way with what we think we know. The next shift of energy that's happening is Mars is going to be leaving Cancer, where it's been for the last couple of months, and entering fixed Leo, where it's going to be for quite a while, because Mars stations retrograde in Leo in December. So Mars is going to be in Leo for the end of the year and the beginning of next year. It's not going to enter because it goes, yeah, it's so crazy. Mars stations retrograde in Leo and goes back into Cancer. And it's not in November, it goes back into Cancer in January. And then when it stations direct, it goes through Cancer, and then it's going to end up in Leo again. And it's going to not officially leave Leo until June of 2025. So we're starting a Mars cycle in Leo and Cancer, like back and forth at the beginning of November. So this is a new chapter. This is something that, you know, is very much influencing the next 7 months. I mean, more than that, 8 months of our lives. So the area that Mars is going to, so let's talk about the area Mars has been, is the house of communication for Taurus. So it's been in the third house in Cancer, and now it's moving into the fourth house, which is the house of home and family. And whenever Mars is passing through the fourth house, it does kick up some dust. You know, there is conflict and tension and, you know, transition, and, you know, going back into Cancer for part of the time at the beginning of next year. It's, you know, there's conflict in communication dynamics. So there's a lot of change, a lot of things happening. Mars is also an action-oriented energy. So that means there's a lot of action around home and family and how we're navigating those things. In Leo, there can be some ego struggles and tension. We think of like the Five of Wands energy in the tarot, where there's some competitive energy that's not always beneficial, but it can be very productive. So those are things that are happening with this Mars cycle. It's pretty intense. After that, we are going to see Venus leaving Sagittarius and entering Capricorn around the 12th. Now, Venus has been passing through that eighth house energy already. So this can be really positive time when Venus is passing through the eighth house for, you know, financial stuff to be kind of working out. And now that Venus is moving out, and also sexual relationship stuff, when Venus moves out of the eighth house and into the ninth house in Capricorn, the ninth house is the house that rules long distance travel, education, growth, intellectually, spiritually. We start really questioning things and asking, you know, am I in alignment with who I am and what I want to be doing? And Venus is going to be in Capricorn until the first week of December. So Venus will be passing through the ninth house for the rest of the month for you, Taurus. After that, Pluto is, well, let's see. Saturn stations direct first, before Pluto. I guess it's going to be Saturn stations direct, and then we have that same time is our next full moon. So the full moon is going to be happening in Taurus, your sign, 24 degrees of Taurus, and we're going to have Saturn stationing direct. So the full moon, the moon's going to be in your first house of identity, and the sun is still in Scorpio over in that seventh house. And Uranus plays a big role with this full moon because it's going to be making a conjunction to the moon. And basically what that is in the first house means that we're going through an identity change in some way. There's some like breakthrough or insight for your sense of self where something's changing for you. You're maybe even feeling a bit of an identity crisis and how that relates to a relationship or how you're relating in your relationship. It's really good to be open to what is presenting itself and where the changes are happening, because you can't control what's happening. It's going to happen. The breakthrough and the identity shift is happening. And then Saturn stations direct at 12 degrees Pisces. And this has been in the house that rules friendship and community for you. I believe it was July that, oh no, it was further back. Let's see. Saturn station retrograde at the end of June. So since the end of June up until now, we've had Saturn retrograde and now Saturn's stationing direct. So in your 11th house, like whatever kind of around the community that maybe you've been feeling like you've been slowed down with, hopefully you'll start to gain some more momentum moving forward as Saturn is in direct motion. After that, Pluto is going to also enter Aquarius again. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I've talked about it in other videos. And then as the month progresses and we move forward, we're going to enter the Mercury retrograde shadow period on the 21st. So Mercury retrograde shadow, we start to feel Mercury retrograde, and then Mercury stations retrograde, I believe, on the 25th or the 26th. Let's see what the exact date is. It's the 25th, Mercury stations retrograde. So, just a reminder, Mercury retrograde is the, time where we need to not be super indignant on making things happen a certain way. We need to just look at things from a reflect, review, reassess. It's good to not start any new projects or necessarily solidify things during Mercury retrograde. This is just a good time for reviewing things. And then the Mercury retrograde is happening in that area of the chart, the 8th house. So this is marriage, shared assets, resources, sex, death, rebirth. So again, reflecting and reviewing on these things, like maybe there's certain things that you're not sure about or that you're having to revisit, things in a relationship, things around money, shared resources and dynamics come up. And Mercury is going to be retrograde until the 15th of December, and then it'll station direct, and we'll have about a week of the shadow after that. So we're really not in the clear until, the 22nd-ish of December. Then at the very end of the month, we have on the 30th, a new moon in Sagittarius. We enter Sagittarius season on the 21st of November. So that the sun's going to move out of your 7th house and into your 8th house and highlight the shared assets resources area again. And then at the end of the month on the 30th, we'll have that new moon at 9 degrees Sagittarius. And again, great for setting intentions around ways that you want to grow and expand and evolve beyond where you've been around 8th house themes. So sex, death, rebirth, shared assets and resources. So it's the 7th and the 8th house and then the 9th house that are really the main houses that are highlighted, with some, nods to the 11th and the 1st house. Those are big players. And then not to forget about Mars entering that 4th house and kind of kicking up some dust. And because Mars is in Leo, passing through, and then we've got some shifts into Sagittarius, that 8th house, 4th house trine is really going to be active. So the way that you're connecting with family and the way that you're connecting with money, with anybody that you share financial stuff with, whether it's your work life, the institutions that you're associated with, or anybody that you live with, that you share resources with, all of that stuff is highlighted in a major way. And there's definitely challenges and conflict, but you know, the goal for you is to grow beyond where you've been and find new ways of navigating the things that you're pushing towards in your life right now, especially with relationships. All right, Taurus, I'm going to leave you there. Good luck. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. You can find me at theladyofleosure.com or thesobercurator.com. And I will see you guys all in December.